Welcome to Shanie Sunshine Lounge, where we learn from those who are giving their heart to their craft and businesses. Shanie is out of town performing this week, but she arranged for a special guest host, the legendary radio personality from KTSU in Houston, Texas, the one and only Gloria Alexander. Over to you, Gloria.
Thank you so much, Ronnie. Today we have an awesome guest, Dianna Liner, who will share a little about herself, her craft, and being in the entertainment business. Dianna puts her heart and soul in being a powerful business owner, movie producer, and director who chooses to go beyond stereotypical labels. Dianna is the CEO of Liner Entertainment Group, Inc., a talent management, booking, and PR firm located in Houston, Texas, with offices in London. Dianna, thank you for joining us in the lounge today. How are you today?
I'm good. Thank you, Gloria. I appreciate you having me. It's an honor to be here.
It's wonderful having you, too. I have a question here. Let's see here. Will you please share a little bit about yourself? What you become? Why have you become a business owner in the entertainment industry? And any changes you have made over the past few months to keep a smile on your face?
Well, I always am full of joy. I think joy is important and smile every day. But I've been in the music industry for a little over 20 years, and probably a little bit more than that. I'm not going to age myself, but I started a little younger. I was in college. I took radio, I took theater, I took music, things of that nature. And I just fell in love with the entertainment industry because I come from an entertainment family. One of my relatives is a gentleman from a long time ago named Cab Calloway. I don't know if you guys know who he is, but you know who Cab Calloway is? Okay. So I've got a lot of music talent in my family, and I fell in love with it very young. And how I kind of got started is I worked in radio. I started here in Houston. I was back in the probably early 90s with Mix 96.5, which is a top 40 radio station. And I went on to 104 KRBE, which is kind of like the top pop station here. And I was working in promotion and marketing, and I knew that I wanted to do something behind the scenes. I didn't want to be, a pop star or anything like that. I just fell in love with the business side of it. So working in promotion and marketing, I did a lot of station promotions with the DJs and things of that nature, and just kind of absorbing how everything worked. And one day at KRBE, I'm trying to make this kind of short, but there was a record executive from RCA Records who came into the station with a CD of a band at the time that was unknown called NSYNC. And at the time, in the boy band pop world, Backstreet Boys and Boyz II Men and all these other pop bands and New Kids on the Block were kind of the big groups. And so when we brought them in and played their single, I was working as one of the producers for a morning show, and we played their single, and it just blew up. The teeny boppers start calling the station, asking what's that new Backstreet Boys song, and we were trying to tell them, no, it's this new group called NSYNC, and nobody knew who they were because they were popular overseas, but they hadn't hit here yet. And they got so popular here that we brought them to perform at a nightclub here that used to be called the Roxy. It was in the Galleria area. And they performed, and I got a chance to really talk to Mark Landis and kind of ask him a bunch of questions about how the music industry works and things. And I just drove the poor guy crazy. And I was like, no, I don't, I'm not a groupie or anything like that. I just kind of want to know how this works. I love it. I love the business side of it, and I want to get into it. And when it was over, I went to my boss at KRBE and asked him if I can maybe follow the band around and be a representative of the station on some of their dates. I thought he was going to look at me like I had grown a third head, but he actually gave me permission. I was very shocked. But so I went on the road. Yeah, it was crazy. I went on the road with them for a little bit. They were playing malls because malls were real big back then for pop bands, and did a few shows and just started learning the ropes. And when I got back to Houston, I decided to start my own management company because I had learned so much on the road. And I started Liner Entertainment Group in the bedroom of my little one-bedroom hole-in-the-wall apartment. It was just crazy. And I put the company together, and I don't know if you guys are from Houston, but they had, the Houston Press has been around for a long time, but back then, that was hot back then. Boy bands were hot. So when I first started my company, I said, okay, I need a client now. So because I have this company with no client, and I got some friends together, and this is pre-American Idol. I tell people that, they're like, wow. I'm like, yeah, this is pre-American Idol. I got 4 or 5 of us together, and I had a friend that owned a club on Richmond called Gotham City that only opened from midnight to 4 in the morning because clubs did that back then. And he let me use the club from 10 a.m. to about 3 o'clock to hold auditions. So I put an ad in the Houston Press and said, looking for 5 boys between the ages of 15 and 18 to form a boy band. And I got 3 or 4 friends of mine to be the judges. And we thought we were going to get 4 or 5 people. We had like 120 boys around the building. And we were just like, oh, my God. So the whole American Idol thing, when that came out, I was like, wait a minute. We did that because we had singers. They were awful. Oh, my gosh, it was horrible. It was like, and that's kind of, and I found 5 guys. I called them Eccentric. They were a boy band here in Houston. I got them in the Houston Post and Houston Chronicle. I booked them all over festivals, malls. We were on Destiny. We were on VH1 with Destiny Child. I mean, everything. And that's kind of how I started. And from that point, I started networking from that point on up until today.
Well, I tell you what, that's enough to put a smile on your face.
I was trying to shorten it because it was so much. So I'm like, let me make this a little shorter.
No, but that's really nice. I mean, it's a nice story. I mean, it was good to hear. I'm pretty sure a lot of listeners got a lot from that too. Some of those who are struggling, somebody you may have helped. You never know who's listening.
I hope so.
Yes, but we want to thank you. What we have is a couple of questions, and we call it Lounge Talk. And so here we go. And here's the question. Now, it's hard work. You have to deal with many challenges, and you take many hearts. What touches your heart, and what makes it all worthwhile?
Well, I think helping people is very rewarding to me. And being able to put my knowledge out there and help someone that really believes in themselves and wants to be in this industry, it's so difficult in this industry because there's a lot of sharks out there. And there are a lot of people out there that are not truthful, dishonest. They try to extort you and things of that nature. And to have someone on your side that says, you know what, I believe in you. I'm going to do what I can to help you. And I just need you to trust me, and we're gonna ride this journey together. So being able to come to someone and say, I think I can help you, and that become successful, that warms my heart. I mean, I enjoy helping people. Yeah.
Yeah, that's very touching, and I can relate to that part because I do. I work with people, and I love helping people. So, it's always good to give, not always, receiving, giving what you got. True. Yes, exactly. I want to thank you. True. See, here we have another question for you. Well, we just might have some who want to share, and I do. I have Ronnie B., and he would like to share. Why don't you join us, Ronnie?
Well, thank you, ladies. And, one of the things that came up for me when you said that, one earlier you mentioned joy. And just being a joy.
Yes.
And when we discuss the Old Grumpy Radio Network, and you look at, we say a world of peace and prosperity, one listener at a time. And we recently made a small change No, actually, we made a big, major, powerful change. And we said, Old Grumpy Radio Network, a world of peace, prosperity, and joy, one listener at a time.
Yes.
And, you know, part of what we do and part of what our shows are intent to bring transformation to the masses, but in a way that's not over people's head.
Exactly.
That's down to earth and real. And we proved that transformation can be entertaining.
Yes, it can.
And I can, you know, and the part, you know, so I said a lot, but what I want to share, what it made me think about was the first business I ever had was a video store. So for those back in the day, they used to have this thing called videos, and they were actually little cases of plastic, and there were the big boys who, you know, Blockbuster Video and Hollywood Video and all of that. Well, before the big boys came in, there were basically mom-and-pop video stores.
That's true.
And I had a mom-and-pop video store called Down the Hill Video, and that's because we were down the hill, and we were down the hill, and we were in the hood.
Awesome.
And we were in the hood, and it was my first ever business. I had dreamed, you know, have a business. Okay, let me get in the video business, and I had this, you know, one, you know, I mean, it was just a little storefront. We were just little small guys, but what warmed my heart was the people I was able to hire. And one of them was a crack addict, not crack. This was before crack, but was a ex-coke addict. And one young lady, she just didn't want to fall with the neighborhood creeps. And one teen guy, he just needed some kind of job so he could graduate high school and go to the Air Force. And the people, I said this was in the hood, and the people we served were the men's rehab center and the women's rehab center, because no one would rent to them. Because, you know, you're going to rent to a drug addict, you know, alcoholic, something like that. You know, that's not wise. But they were just the sweetest people. And the thing that they said was that you would give us a chance. And they would make sure, I mean, if somebody left and they didn't return, they'd get them. They would do better than the regular community. So that, I know I said a lot, but you have to be in it for more than, well, you have to be in it for something real.
Exactly.
And if it touches your heart, there was something real. Okay, I've spoken enough. Gloria should have pulled my hook a long time ago. Back to you, Gloria.
I was listening. What you were saying, some really good stuff, and it was like, wow.
Awesome.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, so thank you so much for sharing. However, we have another question for you coming up, Dianna. Not right now. Now what we're going to do is time for In the Groove, where we listen to a new upcoming artist and vote if they are grooving or snoozing. Today we're featuring music from Eureka Rose and DJ. Let's hear Murda.
Easy, baby. Yeah, I'm sleeping on my rock dread, so I hopped on the track just to pop it and watch y'all brains go dumb, diddy-dum-dum, diddy-dum-dum. I ain't a killer, but don't push me. I'm a sweet chick, evil kitty. Mess around, I'll be a murderer. Hop on this beat, I will murder ya. Murderer. 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 I shot the sheriff. Murderer. 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 I shot the sheriff. Bop, bop. Hi, hi. shot the sheriff. Murderer. 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 I shot the sheriff. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All is fake, booties just standing in a line. The bag, what's that? The butt fat and it's mine. I'ma pop this for real. Trigger one time. Murderer. 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 I shot the sheriff. Murderer. Murderer. I shot the sheriff. Bop, bop. I, bop, bop. I, bop, bop. I shot the sheriff. Murderer. Murderer. I shot the sheriff. I'm a savage. Go run and get your heart eaten by a bad chick. I don't need to show me where the bag is. Damn, this pussy dangerous. None of these haters can play with us. Dangerous. Danger. Chick with a hell of an attitude. Fine, nigga that I could beat and make some ragged-tooth. Mess around and gouge out your eye. Don't you lie. You gon' go bye. Murder is the name that she roll. Fuck around and lose the back of your throat. Got the shiny for your body. Ain't Illuminati, but I know karate and I know crazy. I shot the sheriff. I'm a murderer. I'm a murderer. I'm a murderer. Like who shot? Yeah, I shot the sheriff. I'm a murderer.
I'm so sorry I did that.
Okay.
I accidentally did that.
Well, I think we kind of heard enough of that one.
Okay, Donna, you said I think we heard enough of that one. Okay, let me ask you this. What you think, what is it, a grooving or is it snoozing?
Well, not to offend the artist, is a bit of a snoozy for me. It's just kind of, I don't know, I wasn't feeling it.
Okay, that's understandable because I felt the same way about it. It was snoozing.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, and everyone has different tastes, so it's not like it's a bad song. I mean, some people may think it's jamming, but everyone, everyone has different tastes. It doesn't mean the artist is bad, because that's definitely not what I'm saying. But I just wasn't feeling it. That's all. Yeah. Right.
Me too. I felt the same way about it when and listening to it. I'm like, okay, but for someone else, they may love that. But
yeah, exactly.
Yes. Well, we want to thank you so much, and it's time for a little more lounge talk.
Okay.
Okay. Are you ready for my next question?
I am indeed.
All right. I have learned my attitude impacts the type of results I get in life. I have seen people with good intentions with an attitude that hurts their efforts. Please share 2 or 3 attitudes that you have seen stifle a person's success when it comes to the entertainment business.
Well, one is I think loyalty is one, the attitude of not having loyalty. The entertainment industry is very cliquish. And when you have, let's say you have a management team like our firm, or you have, a booking agent or whatnot that's going out of their way to kind of really help your career, and this team puts all the efforts behind you, and then all of a sudden when someone else comes to the picture that think they can do more for that person, they just turn their back on the people that took them where they are.
Yeah.
And I've seen that many times. The loyalty is just not there. And the entertainment industry does have a blacklist. Blacklists exist in this industry. So if someone does that, they're kind of dubbed as toxic, and nobody really wants to kind of work with them. And I've seen that many times. The loyalty deal, I've seen the attitude of, I've made it, so I'm going to turn my back on people that were there at the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
That's definitely what I've seen. Fortunately, I haven't experienced this but I'm talking about business associates and, colleagues in the industry that have worked hard, and a few celebrities that I'm not going to name on here that turn their back on the people that took them, made them who they are. And then all of a sudden they're like, oh, I don't know you anymore. I'm like, wow, I remember when you worked at Walmart, but
you could tell. We won't say anything.
No, oh my God, no. No. But it's unfortunate that people get that way, and what they don't realize is when you do stuff like that, you hinder your own blessings because God's watching. So He's the one that made you successful. So if you're going to turn your back on the blessings He gave you, then look out, because karma's there. And I've seen it happen. I've seen them go from superstar to like, okay, I can't get a gig now. Mm-hmm. So attitude's very important in the industry. It's people don't want to deal with people that are toxic, negativity is another thing. Mm-hmm. You've got to be appreciative of the craft that you have, the talent that you have, because it's God-given. And if people are going to surround themselves around you to make you successful, you don't turn your back on those people. Mm-hmm. And that, unfortunately, is the kind of industry this is. So you have to be very careful with who you put in your camp. You know what I mean? So I would say those are the main things: loyalty and, just having a good attitude and not forgetting where you came from, basically.
That's the one that stuck out to me the most, attitude. When you said that with so much power. It just got a ring on the attitude, because I've seen it so. Yeah, you do. You have to have a really, good attitude. And my second question, Dianna, what was the toughest lesson you have had to learn in your career or life in general?
Oh, the toughest lesson, I think is don't give up. I've had ups and downs. Yeah, don't give up. I've had, when I first started, I had people that didn't believe I could do this. Or I was, when I was managing the boy group, I booked them at the rodeo on a side stage, and the guy walked up to me and asked me where their manager was. And I'm sitting here looking at him. He goes, "No, I need Mr. Liner. Where's the manager? Where's Mr. Liner?" And I'm like, "You're looking at Mr. Liner." So, I have so many stories. It's insane. But, you just don't give up if because haters are going to hate. And the people that do are the ones that just don't have that drive that you have, and you can't let them step in your way. Right. And I always say, never let anyone steal your joy. Okay? Right. You don't do that. Mm-hmm. And if you believe in something, you keep going until you get it, and just ignore people that say you can't do it. So I think the one thing that I've learned is to never give up and just ignore people that would be negative and go, why don't you go get a real job? This entertainment industry is blah, blah. And I've worked in corporate America. I worked in corporate America for many years working for other people. I was unhappy, but it paid the bills. But I would leave my 9-to-5 job and come home, get on the computer, and start booking clients. Right. So, I never let that stop me from fulfilling my dreams. So I've learned that whatever I decide I want to do, I'm just going to go for it and not give up.
That's a really good attitude to have. I tell you what, most our audience want to hear from you is one of your stories. Can you tell us one of your stories?
One of my stories? Oh, my gosh. Oh, I don't know. Let's see. Like in the entertainment industry or just, let's see.
Yeah, basically on the same topic for his attitude, business, and success,
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess the story that I keep coming back to is the rodeo story because that one just sticks out in my head. Mm-hmm. So when I had this group, and they had booked him for a side stage, and we pulled up because everywhere we went in a limousine because they had 5 backup dancers. It was a full show. And we pulled up on the side, and we got out. And we were trying to do sound check. And the guy walked up again, and he was like, "Where's Mr. Liner?" I said, "You're looking at Mr. Liner." He goes, "Oh." And he just kind of looks at me like I had a tail. I guess he just didn't expect me to be the manager. Right. And I have to say these are 4 white kids. I'm going to say that. So, of course, Billy Bob didn't think that I was, I hate to say that, but he didn't think I was the manager. And so he just, I'm trying to be politically correct here, but, he just looked at me crazy. He goes, "Oh, you're the manager?" I said, "Well, yeah, I'm the manager. I'm Miss Liner. I own Liner Entertainment Group. This is my group. We need to do sound check." So it was like pulling teeth because I have to say back then, I don't think it was that many women doing management back then either, especially women of color that were doing management. So I think it was just kind of a shock when I walked in the room. But we did the sound check, and I guess the guy got a little upset with me for some reason and basically said, "Watch what you say or I'm going to mess up your kid's sound," or something. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I couldn't believe it. So, of course, I went to the head guy and I said some things that I'm not going to say on the radio because I was raised in a church. But yeah. And so, it was just horrible that the way he was just so rude and disrespectful. So I finally got his boss, and his boss pulled him from the sound and got someone else to do it. And he came up to me and apologized. And I think to this day that guy never worked at the rodeo again. So it was interesting. It was really interesting. It was shocking that he was so rude. But the boys put on a fantastic show. These little 14, 15-year-old girls were screaming, asking for autographs. And they liked it so much that they asked us back the next year.
Sure. You brought something. How about today? Because, how long ago was that when that happened?
Oh, this was probably 15 years ago. This was a long time ago.
But let me ask you, what about today? Times have just changed, and we live in a whole...
It has. Oh, it's wonderful.
I'm just wondering, have you experienced anything similar, anything like that today?
It's weird. No. We live in kind of a, I guess, woke generation, I guess you call it, millennial, right. Hipster, and it's the total opposite. Total opposite. We've had nothing but success with the artists I represent. They're very accommodating, just over helpful, wanting to book the artists left and right, wanting to do some stuff with film. I've never, it's just been a blessing. People have been wonderful. The networking that I've experienced to the people that I've met in Hollywood, New York, and Miami, all these places I go to are just wonderful. It's this really great community now in the entertainment industry where everyone's trying to help everyone. So it's like night and day. Yeah, it's like night and day. Yeah.
When you were talking, it just came up. It was like, wow, came right in my spirit. Thank you so much for sharing that for today. And it's time for the groove number 2. Okay. Yeah. Oh, here we go, Diana. Are you ready for us to play another track from Eureka Rose? And DJ, let's hear White Noise.
Flow Productions. If this should be the day that I die, Bury me in Versace, put on my shades, don't watch me. Business face like Rocky, girl, don't try to copy. Won't you try to stop me? 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 Bring on the white noise. I'm so into fashion, it's exciting me. The runway, yeah, it lives inside of me. Yeah, I'm so into fashion, it's exciting me. The runway, yeah, it lives inside of me. Yeah, I'm so into fashion, it's exciting me. The runway, yeah, it lives inside of me. Yeah, I'm so into fashion, it's exciting me. The runway, yeah, it lives inside of me. Feed me fashion, don't feed me fame. Baby, isn't it all the same? Don't you wanna come play my game? Come on to say my name. To the beat of a fearless drum. Don't you hear me when I come? Don't you hear me when I come? Don't you hear me when I come? Pose flash for the camera. Pose flash for the camera. Pose flash for the camera. Pose flash. Pose flash for the camera. Pose flash for the camera. Pose flash for the camera. Bring on the white noise. I'm so into fashion, it's exciting me. The runway, yeah, it lives inside of me. Yeah, I'm so into fashion, it's exciting me. The runway, yeah, it lives inside of me. Yeah, I'm so into fashion, it's exciting me. The runway, yeah, it lives inside of me. Yeah, I'm so into fashion, it's exciting me. The runway, yeah, it lives inside of me. Bring on the white noise. I'm so into fashion, it's exciting me. The runway, yeah, it lives inside of me. Yeah, I'm so into fashion, it's exciting me. The runway, yeah, it lives inside of me. Yeah, I'm so into fashion, it's exciting me. The runway, yeah, it lives inside of me. Yeah, I'm so into fashion, it's exciting me. The runway, yeah, it lives inside of me. Okay, I'm ready for my close-up. Are you ready? Wait, let me get my shades. Hold on. Okay, now I'm ready. Wait, does my butt look fat? Okay, now I'm really ready. Okay, you ready? 1, 2, 3, shoot. Pose flash, camera, pose flash, camera, pose flash, pose flash, pose flash for the camera, pose flash for the camera, pose flash, pose flash.
Okay. Well, that was the total opposite of the first one.
I think so too. I feel the same way.
That's a hot track. I like that one.
Yeah, I did too.
Yeah.
You were at the same. I said, groove. Now that one I did like. I was grooving.
That one is, that's EDM, and that's actually something that we would play on our radio stations because we have an EDM DJ. Yeah, so she needs to submit that song to Iconics Radio. We would play that. That's that's like a great jam, man. I like that. And I heard it because you can't hear it really well on the phone, but I listened to it when Ronnie sent the email, and I actually listened to the song. That's a hot track.
Yes, it is. I like that track too. Well, I tell you what, it's time for a little more lounge talk.
Okay.
Before we get into the lounge talk, I do apologize for interrupting Miss Gloria, but I think Shanie sent us a poem.
Oh, wow.
Yes, I think Shanie sent us a poem. So would you mind playing that poem that Shanie sent so that I don't get fired?
Oh, sure. Let me do that right now. Before we go into our lounge talk, we're going to...
Of course.
Such a beautiful disaster.
Shanie.
Such a beautiful disaster. The brushstrokes of her paintbrush were saturated with lines, intersecting with kindness and chaos. Her colors deep, vibrant, intentional. Her setbacks remind me of tear-stained watercolors. Pain never looked so beautiful. Aged by years of being a dreamer, abused by days gone by, and still a never-dimming light. You see, her love was magic, rising every time she fell. She was free-spirited and hellfire, more powerful than she could ever have imagined. Her walls of protection as fragile as the peace she craved, and her adventures sometimes wreaked havoc on her body. The broken mirror, a distorted image of life lessons, such a beautiful disaster. The misdirection merely the wings of change. You see, when she got centered, the dust settled, and everything shifted, almost like breathing life for the first time. Crayon-scented trauma, separated by degrees of tranquility because she chooses not to be stuck there. And while life continues to offer clarity through open windows and closed doors, her search for love resulted in loving others nearly whole. She often lost pieces of herself, more often than she cared to admit. We sometimes carry other people's shit. Their judgment harsh, and yet no one more cruel than she. A master at tearing herself down while building up those she loved. The listener, the comforter, the supporter, forgetting that she too was worthy to be seen, worthy to be heard, and deserving to be loved. Such a beautiful disaster. Her oil-smeared travels took her far and wide, her recovery sometimes slow, like she was just along for the ride, until she chooses to go deep, willing to shift the energy, doing the work, and discovered that the love she's been searching for wasn't she. Yes, her own divinity. And as she shed her shit, layer by layer, tear by tear, washing away the buildup of the shitstorms she used to be so comfortable in, removing the finger off the self-destruct, finally embracing self-love, releasing those memories, those stories she told herself. No longer the glue that keeps her inner goddess locked away. Her journey was sculpted by highs and lows, molded by adversity, laughter, joy, and resilience. Little did she know, her footprint the pathway for others. You see, the amazing woman that she had become is because of the beautiful disaster that she was, and she called this masterpiece healing.
I love that.
Oh my God, that's beautiful.
Very powerful. Oh my God.
That is beautiful.
Yeah.
I love that. Wow.
Yeah, me too. Tell Shanie.
That was gorgeous. Yeah, tell Shanie that was absolutely beautiful. I love that.
Yes, most definitely. Wow.
Mm.
Well, I didn't know how to come after that.
I know.
I'm getting ready to go in the
I can't follow that.
I don't know how to come back on that one. But here we go.
Oh, my God.
We're going to do our best. We're going to do our best.
Okay.
Okay, Dianna, let me ask you, what was the hardest choice you have had to make regarding your career?
Ooh. Well, I've had some nightmare business partners.
Oh.
And, yeah. And the last partner I had was a very good friend. And, I absolutely, completely adored this person for many years. And I brought this person in as a business partner and was trying to kind of train this person on the industry and really wanted them to partner with me. But things didn't really work out like I thought they were going to work out because I was pretty much like I've always done, doing it on my own.
Right.
And I just didn't want anyone kind of riding coattails. If you want to come in and partner with me and let me train you and be my partner, you're going to put in 50% like I do. And I felt like I was still doing 100%, but this person was reaping the rewards of my work.
Yeah.
So the hardest decision I ever had to make is to let that person go as a business partner, which unfortunately also dissolved the friendship.
That's
and
a question. Yeah.
Yeah, it's difficult to work with good friends and relatives, so I've made it a choice to never hire a friend or a relative because it's just difficult because you can't look at them and go, oh, you're my cousin, so I'm going to let you slide, or you're my best friend, so I'll let you get away with it. You can't. This is business, and there's a separation from business and personal, and I had to let this person go because it just wasn't working. And I knew it was going to ruin the friendship. I even said it when we started talking. I was like, are you sure? Because Dianna friend is different from Dianna business person.
Right.
I put on a business person hat. I'm a totally different person. And you may not like that person, but I'm that way because I want us to be successful. Right. And when I take off that business hat, I'm a friend again. But when I put the friend hat on, they only saw the business person that was mean, Yeah, that wasn't mean, but it's business. So that was probably the hardest I had to do in my whole career, But I learned from it,
Right. Yeah, that's really good because I had something similar to that, in the industry as far as radio and being in the radio, coming up against a person that's been there in the business for 30 years and outshine that person, and they started treating me really bad in the industry. And matter of fact, they started treating me so bad, it was kind of like they wanted to push me out. And I gave them, I just left. I left. It was not worth it to be in that environment. And
jealousy is such a toxic thing, and that's what it was. It was jealousy. Yeah. And it's toxic. So you can't put yourself in that environment because it'll bring you down, and you have to surround yourself with people that are going to support you and lift you up.
Because that's a bad feeling when you have a passion that you love dearly, but you're working in an environment that make you feel like you don't belong there. That's exactly.
Or you're not appreciated.
I'm not appreciated. Yeah.
I've been in that situation where I've worked when I worked in corporate America. Now it's different because I'm the boss, but when I was working in corporate America, I would make companies so much money. I was a director of marketing for various industries, and I just didn't feel like they appreciated it. Or, I felt like the more I worked hard, and there was no appreciation. There was jealousy. And I said, I can't be in this environment. So I said, when I start my company, I'm not going to have a culture like that. I'm going to have a positive culture and a positive company and people that want to have fun, because this is a fun industry, but it's still business regardless.
It is. It is a fun industry, and I love the industry, and when and getting out of what I haven't did it, but I miss it so much because I love music, and so just moving forward, I was like thinking about what I felt, when I was there, and making the choice of staying in the mess or getting out of it, so I can have peace with myself. That's
exactly. Because your well-being, your mental well-being, is more important than drama, and and that's what I try to instill when I'm working with people, or I hire a lot of interns doing like college and stuff that are going to school for the music industry and stuff. So I'll bring them in if we're doing a show or if I'm doing a movie set or something, like, here, I need you to be with me for 2 weeks. We're going to go to California. I'm going to pay for everything, but I need you to do this, and this. So, you've got to have that, positive energy around you at all times, and I can tell, I meet somebody within 10 minutes. I can tell I'm either going to work with you or I'm going to say, thank you. It's nice meeting you. I'm moving on.
Yes. You got that instinct. You can feel it.
Oh my God!
Yes.
You learn it. You learn that trait. You learn to read people in this industry, because people are so full of it in this industry. Oh my God! I've had guys talk to me and, oh, I've done this and I've worked with this person and blah, 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 blah. And they're like talking about people they work with, not realizing I can pick up the phone and call that same person and they don't know who the heck they are. Okay. I'm done.
Okay, here we go. Let me ask you this now. If you had a magic wand and you can have one beautiful thing happen, what would that be?
A magic wand, one beautiful thing happen. Oh my God. And I would just say peace, world peace. With everything that's going on with the Ukraine and the other wars and the hatred and everything that's just negative in the world, I would just put that wand and just make everything perfect. No wars, no hatred, everybody love each other, no hunger, no famine, and just make the world where everybody gets along and everyone's healthy, have plenty of food, and that's what I would do. I'd just make the world more peaceful and loving, like everybody. That would be like the perfect world.
That's a great answer. I totally agree there. Let me ask, how can our listeners learn more about you, and what do you have on your plate?
Okay. Well, they can go to the website, linerinentertainmentgroup.com, or they can just Google Liner Entertainment Group. It comes up. The website, we're a management company, we're a PR firm. The music division of it is we're distributed through the Orchard, which is Sony Music. So anyone that's looking for management, depending on their genre, we represent pop, country, hip-hop, as long as it's clean. I'm not going to represent anyone degrading women and dropping the F-bomb and all that. I just won't deal with that. Yeah. We also are adding a gospel division to the company because I have relationships with a lot of gospel labels. And that's Liner Entertainment Group. Liner Films is the film side. We have one film we're still in pre-production called Rise of the Tarragon, which is a martial arts film. So we're in pre-production on that, so we'll be casting on that soon, and that's linerfilms.org. Right. And then on Iconics Radio, I'm the director of advertising and also a partner for any artists that want their music heard and get paid. Again, we're royalty-based, so they got to make sure they've got BMI and ASCAP set up. And Iconics is spelled Iconix, so it's not with the C, it's with an X, like X-ray. So I have to stress that because people were looking online. They're like, we don't seem like, no, you got to put the X at the end. Iconics Radio. Yeah. So there's different ways to get me, but if you just Google the companies, it'll pop up everywhere.
Oh, okay. Let me say this. You have a newly formed record label. Is it Sotex Incorporated, brand new?
Yeah, Sotex Records. It's we just launched it, but I'm partnering more with my partners with the radio station who has Iconics Records, so that's kind of an affiliate of it because Sotex Records is a label, but we haven't really signed any artists to it because when I partnered with Iconics Radio, I found Iconics Records, and I'm like, well, I'm not going to have two labels, so I'm going to partner with them. But we still sign artists because the management company is also kind of affiliated with the label because we are distributed through Sony Orchard, if that makes sense.
Yes.
Okay. So we would do everything the labels do, basically. And then the added bonus to that is you would get management representation on top of that. Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. Wow. So the genres of music, again, you said, can you name the genres of music that you play?
Sure, of course. Oh, so I'll give examples as well. So we got pop music. So pop is like Britney Spears, NSYNC, Bruno Mars. Okay. Country would be Taylor Swift is pop now. Country would be, who's country? Let's see. We've got Georgia. Well, let me think. Country. I'm trying to think of country, like today's country music, because kids today's country music. But country music like, Garth Brooks or George Strait or something. That, like contemporary country music. Yeah, contemporary country music. Okay. R&B will be more like Well, Beyonce's more pop. See, the genres are so mixed up these days. You know, I grew up in the 80s, and you could tell the difference in genres. In the, you know, you could tell. So R&B would probably be more like Usher, you know. I like old school, so I'm going to say Anita Baker. Yeah, like like good R&B music. And I hate to use this guy's name because he's disgusting, but R. Kelly, like his style of music, you know. He's awful, but I'm using that as an example.
Okay.
And then EDM. And EDM would be like the white noise we just heard. That's a perfect EDM song. Okay. I represent Rosie, who is an EDM artist, and her song, Keep on Dancing, we played that on the radio station, but she's being played all over I got her in Italy, London. She's everywhere.
Oh, wow.
And then we're going to be adding gospel. So gospel would be like the Winans. That's a great example because I absolutely love the Winans. So, yeah.
So no jazz?
Well, it's so weird because when you mentioned jazz, I was like, well, you know, we could manage jazz because we try to manage people that we know we can help. You know, because I have a lot of relationships in the other industries, in the other genres. And it's so weird because, you know, if somebody else asks me, don't you like jazz and blues? The thing of it is, I sing jazz and blues. So everyone kind of looks at me like, why aren't you managing what you sing? And I'm like, well, I don't really consider it singing, you know. And they're like, no. And I went to karaoke one night. You know, I was just having fun with some friends, and I had, you know, a couple of cocktails. And I got up there and sang Traveling Light by, who sings Traveling Light? Billie Holiday.
Okay.
Traveling Light. And the guy didn't have the music to it, so I just got up there and sang a cappella.
Oh, my goodness.
And everyone freaked out. They're like, oh, my. I was like, well, yeah, you know, I like the song. And then I had people coming up to me asking me to sing, you know, like, well, you know. So I guess I should, but it's you know, when you have someone that manages you, they've got to have relationships in that genre, you know. And the only one I can think of is I've got a relationship with a couple of jazz record labels. So if I did manage someone in jazz, I would be able to book them because it's not that hard to book jazz artists. Right. It's pretty easy. But I was concerned about the label part if they wanted to get a label deal. And then I realized when a friend of mine kind of reminded me that I do have a relationship, but I never really reached out to those labels because I never have jazz artists. But I do have relationships with jazz labels, and I thought, oh, I guess I could. You know, so that is something that I would consider. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and the reason I mentioned that is because a lot of people are missing jazz in Houston. And, you know, Houston people love jazz, and it's just fading away. And that is the most popular music, you know, old, you know, I'm just, you know, I'm a jazz fan, and it's like I hate to see it, so much talent, you know.
That's true, and it's going to take it takes artists to bring it back. Like my artist Rosie just performed at Zambuca Jazz Cafe, which I love.
Right.
She just performed there a few weeks ago, and there's a lot of places, you know, the Scott Gardner's Bar and all that stuff. But there's all over New Orleans. It's so easy to book jazz in New Orleans, and California loves jazz. So it's really easy to book it. It's just getting that right artist that wants to go mainstream to actually bring it back. Because you can have artists performing, but we would want someone to say, okay, we're going to book them, but we want to bring them out into mainstream. So we're looking at the Grammys one day, and all of a sudden they're on stage performing. You know, we want them to go further than just playing in little bars here and there. And I think if we find that right artist, we can make that happen. But it's finding that right artist that not only is good, but really wants to do it. Because a lot of people want to, you know, they've got to want to make this as their career, you know, and there's a lot of sacrifice involved in that. And if they don't do it, if they don't want to do it, it makes it hard on us because what are we doing? Like, you know. I've got to have someone that I know that want to go all the way, to put all my efforts and my team and all that behind them.
Right, I got you. Well, I just, because I brought shows to Houston, I brought jazz artists into Houston, and we're not known in Houston. And this is experience. My very first show, I brought Marcus Johnson. I don't know if you know Marcus. He plays piano. Very high. And people in Houston never heard of him. And now when I brought him, now everybody's wanting him. And D. Lucas.
That's awesome. Because it was that need. It was that want, I guess. And it still is. It still is, because a lot of the bands in Houston, they just play covers, which is fine. But, I think it would be nice to throw some jazz in there. I mean, I think it would definitely, make a difference and bring the scene back. The industry is so saturated with pop and it's saturated with hip hop. Right, and it's just, and I am just not a fan, to be honest with you. And so, again, I grew up in the 80s. And so I just would love to see these other genres take center stage again, absolutely, like it was,
Well, we just got our 1 minute.
Okay.
You got 1 minute. I'm like, 1 minute? We're having a conversation, but that's okay.
Oh,
hey, this has been a great conversation, and I want to thank you so much for sharing your wisdom. And once again, thank you for being our guest here at the lounge, and it was great. I'm Gloria.
Oh, I appreciate it.
You're so welcome. And this is Shanie's Sunshine Lounge, where the stars come to play. Thank you.